Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving into a fascinating idea. What if the solution to our most modern problem, artificial intelligence, isn't in the future, but way, way in the past? We're exploring a text that makes exactly that argument. So, what's the big deal with AI? We've had tech revolutions before, right? But the source we're digging into says this one is totally different. It's not just about our jobs being called into question anymore. It's about what it even means to be human. It's questioning our rationality, the very thing we thought set us apart.
Right. It's a fundamental shift. The Industrial Revolution, that was all about machines replacing our muscle power. But now, we're in the algorithmic age, where intelligent systems are coming for our minds. That's a whole different ballgame.
Okay, so if the challenge is that huge, how do you even start to think about it? Well, this is where the text gets really creative. It sets up this incredible thought experiment. What if we elected a new kind of leader? A leader whose entire purpose was to guide humanity through this totally new era.
And this leader isn't a politician or a tech CEO. No, the source asks us to imagine this. It's May 2025, and the world gets a new pope. He's a fictional character, of course, called Pope Leon XIV. But he's not just any character. He's been designed, almost like a perfect avatar, to represent the kind of thinking we'll need to navigate the AI age. So who is this guy? Well, check out this resume. He's the first pope from the Order of St. Augustine. We'll get to why that's so important in a sec. But get this, he's also a former mathematician, an American-born Peruvian. His very identity is this incredible fusion of ancient spirituality, hard logic, and a global worldview. He's the perfect bridge, really.
And his name, Leon, that's no accident. It's a direct callback to Pope Leo XIII, a real historical figure who, back in 1891, wrote this hugely influential document to deal with the chaos of the Industrial Revolution. It tackled the worker question. So the parallel is clear, right? The source is setting up our fictional Pope Leon XIV to write the sequel, a Rerum Digitalium, but this time to tackle the humanity question.
Okay, so this new leader has the right background, but what are the actual tools he's bringing to the table? The first, and maybe the most important one, comes from his namesake's order, St. Augustine of Hippo. Think of Augustine as providing the first tool, a deep, profound understanding of the human heart. So what's the Augustinian diagnosis? It all comes down to this idea of the restless heart. Augustine basically argued that we're all driven by these deep desires, this search for meaning. But here's the catch. Our own vanity and pride constantly get in the way, making us look for truth in all the wrong places. And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? You were within me and I was outside. It's this beautiful admission that he spent his whole youth chasing things, success, pleasure, you name it, thinking fulfillment was out there somewhere. The big revelation for him was that the thing he was looking for was inside himself the whole time. But you can't just rely on the heart, right? A restless heart without any structure can lead to chaos. It needs a map. It needs a rational framework. And that's where the second tool in our Ancient Toolkit comes in, the work of the 13th century powerhouse, St. Thomas Aquinas. Think of it this way. If Augustine gives us the why we're searching for meaning, why our hearts are restless, then Aquinas gives us the how. He provides the intellectual architecture, the logical rigor we need to actually navigate a world that includes things as complex and logical as AI. And you can see how they complement each other perfectly. Augustine's path to truth is all about looking inward, that interior illumination. Aquinas, on the other hand, is all about observing the external world, using reason and logic. For him, faith and reason weren't in conflict. They were like two wings on the same bird. Both needed to reach the truth. He provides the order to Augustine's passion. So, there's our toolkit. The wisdom of the heart from Augustine and the architecture of the mind from Aquinas. So why this combination and why now? Because according to the source, the real battlefield of the AI age, it's not what you think. It's not about Terminators or HAL 9000. So what is AI's greatest weapon against us? If it's not an army of robots, what are we actually up against? The real threat, the text argues, is something way more insidious, and it's already here. It's our own vanity. That's it. That's the real threat. The text makes this incredibly powerful point. AI's greatest weapon isn't its own intelligence. It's our own pride. Its ability to exploit our deepest psychological weakness, our desperate desire to have our own egos flattered. And this is why that ancient toolkit is so ridiculously relevant. Augustine gives us the diagnosis. The problem is the vain, restless heart. And Aquinas gives us the prescription, the discipline of ordered reason. It's a synthesis of the two, the mind of Aquinas guiding the heart of Augustine. That's presented as our best defense against tech that's being designed to manipulate us.
So ultimately, this brings us to the final, most important point. The future of AI isn't really about the technology. It's about us. It's about a choice we have to make, a choice that forces us to define what freedom even means in the first place.
And the source lays out two very different paths. On the one hand, there's the freedom that degrades. That's the freedom to serve our own vanity, to live in a perfectly tailored echo chamber where AI tells us everything we want to hear, basically becoming a slave to our own ego. But then there's the freedom that exalts. That's the freedom to serve something higher than ourselves, the common good, the truth. It's about using technology to liberate us from our egos, not chain us to them. And so that's the final question the text leaves us with. What kind of freedom are we building into our future? Because at the end of the day, the choice isn't up to the AI, it's up to us. And the answer to that question, well, it's not just going to define our technology, it's going to define our humanity.